So when we came in, the bailiffs were actually, the day after we signed our lease, the bailiffs came through the door to collect money owed by the previous tenants.
This year at PerformX, the Gym Owners Forum took their community on the road, and we actually hosted our very own networking community event right in the heart of the show. Now, the conversations that we were having on the day were with doctors, gym owners, industry experts, and suppliers, all with the ultimate goal of educating, supporting, and uplifting the industry. Now, over the weeks following PerformX, what we'll do so that you guys don't miss out is be sharing those conversations that we had with those people on the stage. So without further ado, let's jump right into it.
Toby Wassell, welcome to the Gym Owners Forum stage at PerformX. Thank you so much for joining us. Today I wanted to do something special, a little bit different. We're going to be building today. We're going to be building a gym together from your experiences. So you're going to tell us how to build a gym, essentially. Let's start from the very beginning.
Yeah,
a very good place to start. The Fit Club, obviously, when you took it over, just take us through initially, like how that came about. Give us a bit of context about the Fit Club.
Yeah, sure. So the Fit Club was a pre-existing gym. It had been open for a couple of years. They had invested in a lot of equipment, but not necessarily equipment that was going to serve them in the long term. So they bought a lot of Chinese stuff. They had a 24-hour access system. Again, not necessarily what they needed. And all of these different factors contributed to essentially the business failing. So when we came in, the bailiffs were actually, the day after we signed our lease, the bailiffs came through the door to collect money owed by the previous tenants. And so, yeah, you can kind of set the scene for where the position the gym was in when we took it on. So they had around 400 members. It was losing a lot of money. We made an agreement with the landlord to take on all the debt and all the old equipment. And essentially, we've just grown the gym from there. So 400 then. At our peak, we've been up to 2,500. We're hovering around 2,000 now. And it's a completely different place. Some of the members that we have now are still paying the same rates they were paying back then, and they're kind of foundation members. But they can't believe their luck because it's a completely different place. So, yeah.
And then I guess looking internally at yourself as well, little baby Toby when he took over, what were your kind of personal skills? Did you feel like, what were your strengths going into that situation, and what were maybe kind of the areas you were aware of improving?
In all honesty, I don't think it's something that I would have done had I not worked for Ashbourne already and had that experience. And alongside that, knowing Grant Harrison, who's my business partner of the Fit Club. So Grant had owned gyms previously. And so he, wasn't fazed by it at all, whereas I was a little bit more cautious, as you'd expect. So he was like, no, we can do this. There's a good opportunity here. It's a good sized site. It's been managed really badly. And that was kind of the motivation. I was, keen, let's do it. So.
And then the perception of the gym in the local community, I think it's fair to say it was probably like budget gym, probably not that great. Well, as you've just been saying, how did what was it called before? Prime Fitness?
It was, yeah.
Prime Fitness. How did that compare to like the local competition in the area around you?
So that's something that's changed a lot over the last few years. When Prime were in, the competition was not that great, to be honest with you. There wasn't a lot out there. There was a Pure Gym. That particular Pure Gym hadn't been touched for many years, so it was quite a well-worn club. Since then, the scape of the town has changed completely, and there are lots of gyms in Redditch. I keep saying that it's probably one of the best places to train, or easiest, most accessible places to train in the UK, because there's just so many gyms and they keep opening, which is a little bit of a kick in the teeth each time that happens, but it's how it goes.
Do you know what the reason for that is?
It's a pretty large city, so it's over 100,000 people, quite densely populated, and so it's a good location for a lot of clubs.
So you take over the gym. How do you what were the metrics you used to gauge like your position there and then, right then?
As in when we took it on?
Yeah.
So I talk about the 24-hour system that we took out straight away. So we were looking at the usage of that particular system. Is this actually the best route forward for us? And it turned out that the footfall between the hours of kind of 11 and 5 a.m. was basically zero. So straight away we knew we could save a big chunk of money there on cleaning fees, lighting, power, all that stuff. And also the kind of way the facility was being treated during those quiet hours was really bad. So the few people that were coming in were kind of people at the end of a night out and things like that. And it was just, it wasn't how we wanted to run it. So that was a good example of how we use data to change things when we first went in.
And then obviously you work at Ashbourne. What was the kind of benefit going into that? What were the understandings that you had of how gyms should operate? Taking that into the Fit Club, was there anything specifically that you maybe had an advantage over people just opening a gym for the first time anyway?
Just in terms of understanding the breadth of what Ashbourne can do. So straight away, I'm talking about using the data to change the access control system. That was something that they most likely hadn't done because it was quite an obvious thing, and utilizing things like the booking system more, making sure the custom app that they were already paying for was actually being utilized and was adopted by lots of members. So yeah, basically utilizing our understanding of what Ashbourne can offer to actually implement those things in the club.
So then obviously you take the gym over, you've started doing a couple of things, you rebrand to the Fit Club. How did you kind of decide this is the direction we want to go, this is how we want to differentiate ourselves? What was the kind of thought process and journey there?
Listening to the members, really. They've been the main way that we've developed the club, and then also following trends to a certain degree as well. Strength training has always been massive, but since we've owned the gym, it seems to just exploded even more. So we've added a lot more strength training stuff, really top of the line kit. I remember at the start we had a lot of feedback about our cardio equipment, for example. That was something that we changed, and whereas the old owners had kind of focused on making things as affordable as possible and buying in cheaper kit, which obviously didn't last, we went for more premium stuff but at slightly more spread out intervals. So we bought in techno gym equipment through a finance agreement back in 2021, so that'll end this year. And the reaction to that was just unbelievable. Over the Christmas period where we put it in, we had about 300 members net join the club. So it had a huge impact on the gym.
Is it the perception of just being seen to do stuff? I know that seems quite base level, but what was the impact of just being seen to be doing things in the gym?
Yeah. I mean, it was huge. It was quite easy at the start because the old owners were literally taking equipment out of the gym to sell. It was like a real sinking ship. So when it did come under new management and they could see the walls were being painted, they could see that equipment was coming in rather than being taken out, it was an easy sell, and create a nice atmosphere, and that's what we've tried to maintain over the last 6 years. Yeah,
I think it is the kind of thing where it's even the most basic of changes is, as long as you're being seen to do something, it really does reflect and impact the community.
100%. I know some of the guys still they like to get the paint out and paint an area of the gym, and they get the piss taken out of them by members, but it's that engagement and being seen that the place is loved. And that carries value, definitely.
Bit of back and forth banter always goes down well with the members. So then personal growth for yourself. So obviously, you've come a long way since taking that gym. Yeah, I'm so proud of you. How have you? So obviously you spoke about strength training and that massively exploding and trends in the industry. How do you kind of keep an ear to the ground and keep updated on those things and see what works?
Really, just I'm looking at what other clubs are doing well. A club that we do a lot of work with who have done incredibly well, Foundry Gym. So when they started with us back in, I think 2018, they had a handful, 2 or 3 gyms. Now they're up to 30, and that's all on the back of strength training being at the center of their offering, and it explodes. It's what people want, and you'll see clubs like Pure Gym now, obviously hundreds of sites across the UK. They're really putting in a lot of strength training equipment, plate loaded stuff, pin loaded stuff, and the functional kit as well. So it's definitely a growth area. And then just seeing what other people are doing. We've just put in the Brass Monkey ice bath. Again, shout out Brass Monkey. It's just these things that are constantly being reshared and clearly popular across social media and also backed by science. It's kind of a no-brainer for us. They're going to create the buzz when it comes in, but there's also a real benefit to our members, and that's the type of stuff we like to go for. So we've invested in ice baths, a lot of strength equipment, reformer Pilates, all of which we're happy to stand by long-term. And it's backed by the science. I
think you can see that a lot of these things aren't are moving away from being trends and becoming more mainstream now. Maybe trends are still mainstream, but anyway, it's semantics. In terms of the conversations we've been having, a very clear thing that's come up is the education gap and a lack of understanding. So Brass Monkey call it the recovery gap, and there's many things that go into that, but education's part of it. Just generally, I think people's understanding of longevity and improving their members' lifespan it doesn't necessarily come from a place of not caring, but maybe a place of just not necessarily understanding it so much. How do you, as a gym owner, I would say it's quite clear, like looking at the club, that you care about your community and that's kind of who you're putting first. How do you bridge that education gap and that understanding of things like understanding how an ice bath works, how it should be used properly, so then implementing that and passing it on to your members?
It's difficult. I'm not going to lie, it's really difficult. You know, we put the ice bath in, and we were talking about it with the guys, and I mentioned the name Wim Hof, who I thought was a hugely well-known person, who is a hugely well-known person, but they looked at me with a blank stare, and I was like, okay, there is, you know, it's this education gap, and people, there's the different spread of members that we have in the club. Everyone's got access to such different information, they have such different goals and all of these things. So it's really difficult. We, you know, using the Brass Monkey example, because that's so current, they're coming to do some training with our team. We're also giving our team free access to the ice bath, whereas members will have to pay. So what we're doing there is we're trying to make sure that the team, the people who are going to be selling it day to day, really understand it. They really understand what they're getting themselves into. And that goes with our classes as well. So we got the team trying out classes on a monthly basis, on a monthly rotation, you know, from things like Zumba to Pilates to yoga, which isn't always the most popular, but what it does mean is that when people are giving that tour, they can speak from experience and they can share something actually useful.
Yeah. And I think like it is that education side of things is something that we are going to definitely start focusing on and kind of pushing that narrative. You yourself, I would say, like you're a learned man. But what are the kind of resources that you lean into, you try and use? Like you do a lot of reading. Like what kind of stuff do you kind of direct your attention to get the most out of?
I mean, I think shows like this, obviously we're at PerformX today, I think shows like this are absolutely fantastic. You can see kind of what's out there, you can see everyone, the best of everyone. And I think things like this are probably where I'm getting a lot of my information. So the three big shows of the year, PerformX, FIBO, Elevate, will be at all of those. And of course the Gym Owners Workshop in Ireland in October. But for me, that's where I get a lot of the information. And then on the other end of the spectrum, it's listening to our members, listening to Ashbourne gyms, and discovering things that way as well. So
yeah, no, there's such a breadth of knowledge here, and actually, like you bump into people that you've never even kind of heard of, and they just tell you something, and then you end up, well, I personally end up regurgitating it 20 times during the event.
They tell you something that changes your life.
Yeah, I'm a new person. So then, going back to more of the looking today at the Fit Club, in terms of gym operation, what are the tools and what are the tools that you've started using within the gym to help you actually kind of operate at a higher level?
So the Ashbourne system is kind of our ecosystem within the club. Everything from payments, onboarding, day-to-day management of members, management dashboards on the back end for us. All of that stuff is absolutely essential reading and essential tools that we use. We also use like a digital task list. So with that, we'll assign tasks to staff members on their shift. So that's really useful, especially with the ice bath coming in, with how they're going to actually maintain that, because there's quite a few different things to consider with like water, cleanliness and things. So yeah, they're the two main ones that we use. Couldn't do any of it without the turnstile as well. That's absolutely essential.
And then just in terms of organization for the gym, I guess as well, is there anything, I know that you spoke about like a marketing planner and just really like streamlining, well, yeah, I guess all of your business operations to make everything kind of the task list that people just have to do.
Yeah, so last year we brought in an apprentice who was a marketing specialist, you know, yeah, a Padawan. He was coming at it from the perspective of a young lad. He understood social media and like digital marketing quite well, and takes the systems really easily. But from an organizational perspective, we were struggling to like align and make sure that during a campaign, everything was going out across all of the different channels. So whether that's posters within the gym, emails, WhatsApps, SMS, like all of these different things. So we just put together a really simple multi-channel marketing planner is what I'd call it. And it's a spreadsheet that has all of our different channels, and then it has the actions across those channels throughout a campaign. So usually we'll run 2 campaigns a month. The channels will be things like I just mentioned, your print, your digital, all of the different things. We've got about 20. And then the actions within each of those. So For email, you might have 15 emails within a single campaign. And then within that spreadsheet, we can also record how each email performs as well. So it includes a description of what's in each thing, some imagery on a campaign level. Yeah, it goes into quite a lot of detail, and it sounds quite complicated, but actually when you get it down on that list, it just makes it all there. You can tick stuff off as you go along. And for the first time ever, our marketing isn't chaotic.
Is it complicated to actually implement within the club? Like,
No.
is it complicated to actually build in the first place, is what I'm saying, or is it all fairly straightforward?
Not at all. In fact, when we post this video, we can link it below because I've shared it with the guys at Gym Owners Forum.
Check the link in the description.
But it's so simple. Yeah, it's a spreadsheet. I mean, we were doing it on Notion, but even that felt a little bit too complicated.
Fair.
Maybe it's the way we set it up, but this works really well.
And then, are you using like AI, like ChatGPT? Like, what extent did? Oh yeah.
Yeah.
What extent?
No, we
did
are
you
using it. We're definitely not just plugging stuff in and taking it straight out. We're trying to humanize stuff, trying to rewrite things, but we're using it for everything. Blog posts, the captions, like ideas. Just it's a massive part of our strategy.
Another thing that obviously I think because of the nature of the gym through Ashbourne and also just like the Gym Owners Forum, even you're always trying like every single trend, I would say, to a certain extent. So like there's the reformer, there's a spin, there's a recovery, which is fantastic, and I think it really helps you to see what works. I've kind of just named all of them, but what are the services that you've kind of implemented within the gym that you find have the largest impact on?
So you just named most of them.
Yeah, sorry.
But that's okay. The reason that we have actually brought them in is firstly to test them on behalf of Ashbourne and the Gym Owners Forum, but also because we're trying to bring up the yield per member. So we don't want to be doing price increases without adding things. And to be honest with you, the feedback that we've had in the past where we've done price increases has sometimes been quite negative. I remember of course it's negative, but I remember in particular when Pure Gym moved a new site right by us, we timed our price increase really badly. And it meant that just as Pure Gym was opening, we were still kind of dealing with the backlash from doing a price increase. So since then, we've tried to add services that people can access if they want to. So good example you just made was the ice bath. So people with an ice bath bolt on for £15 extra a month can access that room. That's one example. The reformer's another, so people with the £15 bolt on for reformer can access that room. And we've got the on-demand tablets in there, and we also do some classes as well that they can jump on.
And I mean, how has the process of implementing those been? Have you found that the uptake's been like instant, or have people taken a bit of convincing, there you go, to get them in?
Yeah, but the good thing is now that in the past where we couldn't track the effectiveness of our outreach as we launch these things, now we've got the multi-channel strategy. At least we know what's working, what isn't, and we're getting in front of the right people. But yeah, it's always a case of getting the word out there and making sure that enough people hear about it.
What are the metrics you're tracking on that to like track whether it's a success or not? How do you gauge its success?
So in the example of the ice bath, the particular model that we have has a bather load of 75 people a day. We think we can push that to 100 with the Brass Monkey motor. So that's kind of our target, and that's going to be the barometer of whether that's successful. We don't think it's a particularly high target for a club of 2,000 members, so it's going to be interesting to see whether we can hit that.
Okay, and then I mean, what are the things that you've implemented within the gym that have just been like a success straight away that you thought this is
I
great?
would say, going back to the Techno Gym cardio, the one thing that I would say had the biggest impact in the shortest possible period of time, and obviously it's a big investment, but I'll go on to that in a second, was that kit. What's interesting about it is that no other equipment company would touch us with a finance agreement. We just couldn't get one. For some reason, Techno Gym, who just so happened to have the top of the range cardio equipment, the best in class, I would say. It's got the smallest footprint. It's got all of the top tech. They just so happened to say, yeah, you can have a finance agreement and you don't need to make any personal guarantees as well. So it was huge for us as a business, and it had a massive impact. So I would recommend them on that front.
What was the reason that it had such a big impact? Was that from listening to the members?
I think it was partly from where we were to what we got to. So all of a sudden we have kit that you could watch Netflix on, you could charge your phone, and we'd come from a stage where 5 of our treadmills didn't work, the rest of them were a bit rubbish. It was really old stuff. So it was just a complete golfing class on that front, and it is really popular stuff for us.
Yeah, I find myself on it every time I go to the gym, which is less than I'd like. Yeah. So situation report. So we've looked at when the gym started. We've looked at kind of how you've got to where you are today. Let's look at the here and now. So new members coming into the club. Obviously, there is a lot of local competition, as you said. How do you stand out to new members? How do you make yourself different?
It's getting more and more difficult, 100%. I mean, we're just about to have Snap Fitness open basically outside our front door, which is going to be tough. But we had a meeting with the guys the other day, and we were just saying how now more than ever you are so important, your team, because that's something that Snap, Pure Gym, the gym group, whatever it is, they all have the same model. They've got a full height turnstile, and the reason for that is so they can avoid staff costs. And so they can automate processes. So yeah, the guys, their training and their development is just going to be so much more important going forward.
And the staff is Rob Harris gave a really good breakdown of how he gets his staff, and he always trains from inside the club and really forces their the culture into them. How do you plan on training?
That sounds terrifying.
Yeah,
forces the culture into them.
It's yeah. Fair. He doesn't do that. But how do you prepare your staff?
You motivate them.
Yeah. How do you motivate them?
Again, with great difficulty. We do a few things though. We incentivize them with a few different ways. So Google reviews are one thing they can earn commission on.
Okay.
We have the top reviewer for the month will get a commission. We have a sales target and a sales commission, so they can earn money for any in-club sales or people that they ring up. They can earn money on those. So there's a financial kind of incentive there. And then all I can say is that training is absolutely essential. And to be honest with you, it's something that we've not been the best at in the past.
Yeah.
And we have been complacent. When we were during times where we were doing really, really well, that's somewhere where actually we got a bit relaxed and the kind of standards fall off, and before you know it, your culture's kind of not the best. There's people on their phone behind the desk, there's people eating and things like this. And so this is something we're really trying to turn around now and improve, is that culture and training.
How are you doing that? Is it like courses or?
Yeah, so we have monthly training, set training. So that'll be something different every month. Next month we're doing some sales stuff with Ashbourne. The month after that we've got an equipment company coming in. We've got an equipment company coming in to talk about one of their pieces and how you can get the most out of it. So yeah, the regular touch points kind of help the team build their knowledge and also show that we as owners and facility managers care about their progress and their development, which I think is important.
Yeah, for sure. And just finally, I don't want you to snitch on any of his staff, but have there been any kind of, obviously with the commission system, do you find people try and maybe abuse that, or is there any of that?
So it's all managed using the Ashbourne system. So basically every member of the team has a coded sign up link, and that records the commission, so it can't be abused. The only way it could potentially be abused is if they kept signing up, which
it's probably not worth.
Wouldn't be the worst.
Yeah. So now looking at retention and community. So obviously it does start with the staff and how they behave around the gym for sure. How do you take that further and also kind of put that community and that ethos onto your members and get them to kind of buy into it also? Yeah.
I think
how have you built your community?
How have we built a community? Having the team there is the first point. I mean, I think it's having a friendly, knowledgeable team there to speak to members and to help them is got to be central to it. I think that's a huge shortcut to what we've done in building a community. The music, the atmosphere is also something we've invested a lot in making sure it's kind of inclusive and we don't go too far down any one route. We were talking the other day how all of our music is about energy and kind of involvement, and what we mean by involvement is not making it alienate people by being too aggressive or containing certain words or whatever, and that seems to have worked for us. That's without doubt the thing that's most commonly referred to when people are giving us good feedback is our community. So
classes, it's something that I kind of struggle to wrap my own head around in terms of implementing them. How do you get people to kind of buy into and take them up? Because I know that your class structure is classes are included in the membership.
Some are, yeah.
Okay, go on.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, if you can elaborate on that and take us through it.
So some are. So we have a number of classes that are included in the membership, simply as that. And then we also have the bolt-on reformer stuff. So that's £15 extra to get access to that room and those classes. So they're the two kind of avenues you can go down. What was your other question?
In terms of getting people engaged and getting them to actually buy into it, because they're included in the membership. I mean, sounds like a weird question, but do you want people to be doing the classes? Do you want them to be like?
Yeah, absolutely. So one of the KPIs we look at every month is class utilization, and we have that tracked for individual classes. We have that tracked for classes as a whole. So yeah, it's something that we're constantly trying to improve. Next month, we're actually running a big campaign where we're giving all of the instructors tokens that they can give to their class attendees, and then they can bring a friend along to a class. And again, that's all managed using the prospect management system.
Looking at like events within the gym as well, because that's something that some people really struggle with getting off the ground. Is there a correlation between people that do classes and people that turn up to events?
Not that we've seen. The events that we have done in the gym in the past have been like quite specific talks. Either things about GLP-1 is the most recent thing we've done. We've done a few on menopause and how that affects your training, the menstrual cycle, and weight loss, like a few different areas. So they're quite specific to certain people. So it's actually what it has been good for with the event side of things is attracting people who aren't gym members into the club. And then obviously we've got an opportunity to kind of build a relationship with them then.
It's the education side of it again though, like it's actually we were talking to Carl earlier and Dr. Schiffer yesterday, and they were saying with the GLP-1s it's like people are kind of taking it because they know the effect it will have, but they aren't like considering like they're losing all their muscle mass as well. So it is really important. And have you found that it's kind of made a change in how people operate within the gym after that? Have you kind of debriefed with the members after attending those classes?
No, not as much as we probably should have done.
It's a good idea.
Yeah, absolutely. Having an event like that about something quite specific and then keeping in touch with them and maybe building that relationship is a good idea. Yeah.
Looking at the data and the numbers, what are the metrics that you should really focus on? What are the ones that have been most helpful? What are the ones that kind of are passive and are just existing?
I mean, we talk about a lot about member numbers, but actually revenue is obviously the most important one, which we've definitely got caught on in the past. Member yield is the big one for us at the moment. We're really trying to bring that up. Obviously we have got price increases kind of in our locker if we want to go down that route, but really we want to add value and try and see if there's any ways that we can kind of give people more and then also bring up that member yield at the same time.
In terms of the data as well, how do you translate that data that you get? How do you translate that into action after?
So monthly meetings with the management team. So that's where we kind of set all our goals, talk about how things have gone the previous weeks and months, and kind of carry on the progress.
As owners in the gym, kind of how much do you work in the business? How much do you work on the business? How much management do your managers need? How much should they need?
So we're actually going through a management changeover at the moment, so quite a lot, to be honest. But in usual times, we're kind of working on the business and just discussing things with the manager at the high level, and then they kind of put it into place.
Is that the sign of a good manager? Is that kind of what you should look for as someone that can take responsibility?
The dream manager would be someone where myself and Grant and the Ashbourne guys rarely have to do anything to do with the gym. That would be the dream manager.
Dream.
What we've always struggled with, and it's completely understandable, is when you have a manager in or when you're employing staff, a lot of the time they don't have that same attention to detail that you do as someone who has a stake in the business. And I think that's where we've really struggled to find good people, is people that see it as their own business and have that level of pride. But we do have a few people in the gym now who do that, and it's really good to see.
How do you coach that? How do you look for that in a person?
I mean, it's really hard. That's the thing. Like people that are passionate about the business, people that have, I think, attention to details, a really good one, because as an owner, it's the final 5%, the final 10% that sometimes we feel where it falls down. And that's where we're picking them up on a lot of things. So that attention to detail, I'd say, is the big one.
I only ask hard-hitting questions, mate. I don't ask you easy questions. In terms of, obviously, I just want to briefly touch on the Ashbourne side of things. How has the Fit Club influenced the decisions in upcoming software and in upcoming updates and all that in Ashbourne?
Like hugely. Yeah. So between the Fit Club and the feedback that we get from other gym owners, that is kind of makes up 90% of what we're doing at Ashbourne. It's all similar to how we've grown the gym. We're listening to our own customers and then testing things in the Fit Club to stress test them. It then goes out on another round of testing at some kind of trusted sites, and then it goes on to all of our customers into the mass market.
So I think actually everything we do should be based in the reality of, in the context of a gym facility. So that's how it's.
It's something that really sets Ashbourne apart as a supplier, is the fact that they have this facility where they can test products, where we can bring people and show them our products, and where we can really put our money where our mouth is. And because of that, we understand the difficulties of what it takes to be a gym owner.
I think it's kind of like been how the Gym Owners Forum's been bred about as well, because actually we've realised that the thing that people respond best to is like being relatable and being able to actually understand that everything's based in the context of understanding how hard it is.
For me, a big thing that I've seen is that we can be less salesy, because I don't really sell to people. I just say, like, come to the gym, have a look, and 9 times out of 10, we kind of, once they see what we're doing, they take something away from that, which is great. You know, even if they don't come on board as a customer of Ashbourne, just for the betterment of the industry, it's been absolutely amazing. So.
It's a lot easier to sell when it's this is what we did and it's worked. I think in terms of the context of the Gym Owners Forum as well, I think because of, you know, running a gym extends so far beyond also your management software, and it is actually like the education piece. I think there's so much work to be done pushing all that side of it. So then looking towards the future, I think I just briefly wanted to touch on that kind of that education gap and what's next for you as a gym. Where do you see the Fit Club going? What's your kind of next big phase? Fast forward it 5 years, let's say, what does it look like?
So we're really trying to nail down this smart gym concept where you can kind of pick and mix the type of experience that you want, and then we control that using the Ashbourne system to control access to rooms or booked events or payments or whatever it is. Building the smart gym is our goal at the Fit Club, and if we can get that right, then I think it'll expand into potentially more sites. But to be honest with you, it's just about creating that really great product for the industry, and that's what our focus is on at the moment.
Let's say there's 3 directions it can go. It's like you focus on the longevity and wellness, you focus on the community and social aspect of it, or you focus on the technological advancement aspect. What's the most important one to you?
All of them, really. Yeah, so all of them. Yeah, I mean, as a facility, we're trying to speak about wellness, mental and physical well-being over just like any particular type of fitness, you know, rather than training over aesthetics and things like that. You know, looking after our members, whether in the gym or outside of the gym, and kind of promoting a really positive message is something that we definitely would like to do more of.
I would actually say it's a pretty good answer to say all of them, because why not all of them?
I think so.
You can have your cake and eat it.
Yeah. They're all relevant, definitely.
Yeah. And then in terms of looking forward to the future, also in terms of societal impact, I think it's pretty fair to say that gyms are going to become a third space for mental health, longevity and well-being, all of the stuff we literally just discussed. How do we do that? How do we kind of drive this industry forward and work together to campaign for the future, I guess?
I think working together, like you just said, yeah. Stop opening gyms on our doorstep. That would be good. But no, it's what is really nice, even though it's might affect us in the future, is that there's clearly a huge demand for fitness at the moment, which is amazing. You know, I don't think there's ever been this much access to health and fitness services, which is great for the country and for the future of health, really. One thing that we're running at the moment, which I think represents that with the Gym Owners Forum, is the campaign to kind of save our gyms, fair rates for fitness. Save Our Pubs has had a massive impact, and they've had a rates reversal. They're getting a discount on their rates from April, but gyms still aren't going to get that. So for a lot of clubs, rates are going to double in April, which is just insane. So I spoke about the Techno Gym finance deal that we've got finishing this year, and actually that's saving the money that we've been spending on that is going to be completely wiped out by the increase in business rates that we're going to see, which is just crazy. So yeah, I don't know if it answers your question, but I think for the betterment of the industry, it's in a great spot. But I think the councils and the people higher up need to do more to support that growth.
Do you think there's maybe a kind of misunderstanding and maybe a misunderstanding by councils and MPs and the government of the impact that gyms actually have on society, and why is that?
I think there's a misunderstanding
of by the government of the impact that gyms and councils have on society.
Honestly, I don't know. I feel that it just seems so blaringly obvious that, you know, gyms have a positive impact on health compared to somewhere where you might drink. And don't get me wrong, I love the pub. So, you know, fair enough, save our pubs. However, I think fitness should also be, you know, included as somewhere you can meet, you can socialize, as it is so many people, you can keep fit and healthy, and ultimately ease pressure on the NHS, which I don't think pubs do.
Yeah. No,
But I need to stop going to pubs.
Yeah,
You get banned from all the ones locally to
No, yeah. It just seems, as you say, like a no-brainer. So we will link all of the relevant links in the descriptions and wherever. So please look up for those and sign up as well. Toby, thank you so much for joining us on the episode today.
No problem. Thank you for having me.
That is all for this episode of the PerformX edition of the Gym Owners Forum podcast. I hope you enjoyed the episode. I thoroughly enjoyed all of the conversations that I had from the 2 days of the show. Would highly recommend anyone to check out PerformX next year and just other industry events in the UK. If you enjoyed the episode and you want more like it, head to YouTube or anywhere you can get podcasts and look for the Gym Owners Forum podcast. If you want some more quick fire and actionable tips, head to our socials where we're posting regularly about insights and just general tools and things we find from the industry right there directly to you. And if you just want to get in touch, reach out to us, DM us, email us, go to our website, reach out, and we're always happy to have a chat and a consultation on how we can help. With that said, see you on the next episode.